Hey everybody, Max Rich here, and we are going to be talking about the best shape of the pentatonic scale that I think exists. Everyone knows pentatonic scale, or most of you know the pentatonic scale. You can either think about this scale as a major scale or a minor scale. They basically share the same notes, so long as you're staying in the same key. So for today we're going to talk about either the A minor scale or the C major scale. Personally, I think it's preferable to think about it as C major. Everyone knows this version, or you should. And then maybe you know the major version. So that one starts on A, the one I just played. The major version would start on C, but it's the exact same set of notes. And those are like the two real common ones. There's three others. Basically, pentatonic scale, there's 5 notes. So you can start on every one of those 5 notes and you get a vertical position for every one of those. Those are just kind of the two main ones, right? The minor version and the major version. The one we're talking about today is neither of those. It's a diagonal version, right? So once again, we're thinking about this in C major chord, right? So this scale takes us all the way from the 3rd fret to the 12th fret, and it's a hugely useful scale. You know, a lot of people want to get out of this pentatonic thing where they're stuck playing in one box vertically up and down. This is the way to do it, right? So the scale takes you real easily up the neck. Instead of playing vertically, you're playing diagonally, which has a ton of advantages, right? So to begin with, let's go through the scale. We're thinking about C. And we're thinking about this C specifically. This is where we're kind of like starting. This is our root note. Now it's helpful for you to think about the notes in this scale as scale degrees instead of letter names. If I were to map out just the letter names, you know, if I played the C major scale, right? C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, right? So C, D, E, G, A. If I'm thinking about this in terms of C major, that's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Now the interesting thing about this version that I'm teaching you today is that it doesn't start on 1, it starts on 5. 5, 6, 1. It goes G, A, C. Now that is incredibly useful in and of itself, but we'll get to that. So the scale goes, and that's the first sort of mini position. That's the first 5 notes. Pentatonic is 5 notes. Those are the first 5. G, A, C, D, E. Right there. 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. And the nice thing about the scale, the reason it's so useful, is that it is identical. It's completely symmetrical. You can play the same scale the exact same way on every set of 2 strings. You notice that when I play those two, I'm playing 2 notes on the first, or on the low string, on the low E string, on the 6th string, and then I play 3 notes on the A string. So the 5 and the 6 are always right next to each other. Duh, the numbers are right next to each other. And then the 1, 2, 3 are right next to each other. Right? So you have 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Now, one thing you want to notice right away is that the first 4 notes of the scale are played with the same fingers, index finger and ring finger. Right? Really, really easy. And then all you have to do is shift up with your ring finger, and now you have the 5th note. That's the entire, well, that's 1 full octave, right? And then the great thing about this, it puts you directly in position to play the next 5 note set, which is identical. 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Right? So you can traverse 2 octaves incredibly easily. Like that. Right? As opposed to, say, if you were playing the pentatonic scale, right? Like, or the vertical shape of it, right? It's not symmetrical. It's like index, pinky, index, ring, index, ring, index, ring, index, pinky, index. Right? So you're playing most of the time 2 notes per string, but because of that you get like a not symmetrical version. It's a lot harder to visualize, especially if you're trying to learn all 5 shapes of them. which is why everyone sticks to this shape, right? Because it's the first one you learn and it's really easy. Fewer people navigate the major version. And that's because that one's even harder to visualize because it's totally not symmetrical. My version is. Well, I shouldn't say my version. This version. So 2 octaves right there, and we still have 2 strings left. Now when we get here with our ring finger on the 9th fret, we're just going to jump up, right? The tuning differential between the G and the B strings means it's not, you're not staying right above the fret that you just ended because the G and the B string are tuned differently. But now we're just on the 8th fret and we just go, once again, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Right? So the great thing about this is that you can use the exact same fingering for all 3 octaves and you can easily navigate with the exact same pattern from down here up to here. And once again, this works for any key. You know, you can do it in E or B or whatever, right? The other great thing about this, well, there's a lot of great things. I like this for a lot of reasons. But one of the great things is that you have the blue note. Normally, if you're playing like your A minor pentatonic scale, you have that E flat, that flat 5. Right? That kind of thing. Here, you have it right there. You have 5, 6, 1, 2, flat 3, 3, right? Which means you can actually shift like I just did with my ring finger, or you can shift with your first finger, and then do the same thing. Or you could play with 4 fingers if you want. Right, depending on what you're doing, depending on what kind of a lick you want, you have a lot of options using that blue note as sort of a passing note between the 2 and the 3, right? So, and then if you descend, obviously it's the reverse. Right? Now, to apply this in some musical principle, right, I wanted to talk about the 5 to the 6 to the 1. Why doesn't it start on the 1? You know, like if I'm playing the A minor pentatonic scale, it starts on the A. If I'm playing the C major version, it starts on the C. Right? Why don't I start on the 1 with this version? It's very simple, and you've heard this sound in just about every style of music. Right? Whether it's funk music, right? Or whatever kind of other music. Right? Some sort of like classic rock thing. They do this all the time. 5, 6, 1 is one of the most classic sounds that you can play on the guitar. It's like the epitome of a major sound on the guitar. Now, one of the reasons that's so beneficial in this case is that you can always start your licks, whatever you're playing, as with pickup notes. A lot of players will begin their lick starting on beat 1, and there you go, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Right? It gets very boring, very monotonous. A lot of guys I teach say, hey, I want to sound less. You know, everything I play sounds the same. How do I stop doing that, right? And one of the biggest things that you can do is start to play pickup notes leading into the 1, right? That's why this is so useful. Because you put that C, that first scale degree, you put that on beat 1, which means the 5 and the 6 that come before it have to be in the previous bar as a pickup measure. So like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Right? Now all of a sudden I have a little rhythmic variation. That doesn't mean I have to start everything that way, but at least I'm not starting everything on the first scale degree on beat 1 of a measure every single time. That becomes really predictable, really monotonous. So I want to show you guys a couple of licks using this in a variety of different styles, right? So let's get going. Here is lick 1. bouncing, swinging 16th style lick. And basically what we're doing, we're literally just climbing up the scale. You know, there is nothing more to it than that. It sounds really good though. The reason it doesn't sound like, right? The reason it doesn't sound like that is because I'm varying the rhythm, right? I'm not playing dun 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 dun, right? So the nice thing about, once again, this version of the scale is that all you have to do is be rhythmically creative, and you could literally run the scale and make it sound cool and interesting. So, right? Once again, there's a pickup there, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then on beat 4, we're doing this. We're like playing 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4, right? So we put those first 2 notes, 4 E and 1, and then we're right here on the C. And then basically after that, all right, it's kind of a standard like simple blues or Motown idea, right? Notice I shift with my first finger so I can get that blue note in there. And it is literally identical. That pickup is in the same spot going into the second octave. And then here, I'm climbing up with 4 fingers just because it's a little easier. And then after that climb up, I climb back down 6, 5, 1, 1, 1. There you go. That's lick 1. Okay, so lick 2, once again. Same sort of idea, it's a similar feel, right? But what I'm doing here, we have a 3-note pickup now. Right, so now there's 3 notes, and we're landing on the blue note on beat 1, which creates a lot of tension because it's not the first degree of the scale. And then after that blue note, it's always really, really good to go from the blue note either up to the 3, so from the flat 3 to the 3, or from the flat 3 down to the 2. And that's how we're doing it. So now we're starting in the middle octave, and once again starting on 5, 6, 1, 5, 6, 1, and we're doing a hammer on from 5 to 6. Getting that flat 3 with our pinky, getting down to the 2 and then down to the 1. And then pulling off 6 to 5. And then from here, the nice thing, we want that flat 3 again. It's right there under our middle finger. So we're doing very little movement. And you could take that middle finger, flat 3, give it a bend. And then after that bend, we're just bending to kind of hint at the E natural at the major 3. And then we're climbing up to flat 3, 3, 1. And then we get the octave of the 1 with our pinky or ring finger, right? Right? This is not your standard. Right? It's not your standard minor sound, right? The reason it's not is because you have so many more varieties of articulation. Right? And everything, like I'm barely moving. Right? I'm not shifting all over the place. I'm not running up and down vertically. I'm just kind of staying in position. That's lick 2. So this one is super nice. This is like a little bit more, I don't know, I mean, it's a very versatile lick. You can play it in a bunch of different styles, right? But I really like it because of the articulation, and the articulation that this scale allows you to play. Right, so what I'm doing, I'm starting on the upper octave now. So I'm starting on the 8th fret, 5, 6, 1. Once again, that 5, 6, 1 works every time, and it always sounds a little bit different if you do it right. So I'm doing that, 5, 6, 1, right? And this time I actually am starting on beat 1. You know, if you're following along in the tab, that's like 1 E and then instead of sliding up, I shift up with my first finger and do a quick hammer on from 2 to 3. And then I do that sweet little articulation. So I hammer on, and then I take my middle finger on the flat 3, I do a really quick pull off and slide out of the pull off from the flat 3 to the 2 down to the 1. And then I'm on the 6. And then I literally do the exact same articulation. And then I just finish the lick with a 5, 6, 1, because 5, 6, 1 always works. It's really, really sweet. Once again, I like to traverse 3 octaves, and it sounds like sort of like a question and answer thing, which is important because that's what you want to do. You don't want to just ramble on and play like a bunch of licks or a bunch of notes without any real phrasing, right? But the crazy thing is I'm playing literally 3 identical versions of the riff just in different octaves. Right? Which should go to show you that you could literally play the same exact thing in 3 octaves and have it sound different and make it not sound monotonous, right? Make it not sound like the exact same thing every single time you play it. It sounds like 3 different phrases, right? So that was lick 3. Okay, so lick 4 utilizes the same, obviously the same pattern, but we're doing something totally different. We're playing double stops. So I'm basically starting on the 2 and the 5, right? But the way I navigate this is I play those 2 and then hammer on with my ring finger to the 3, right? So I'm basically going like into this position, but I'm starting here. Right? This is kind of got a little bit of a Hendrixy sound. He does that kind of a thing all the time. And so basically I'm playing the 2 and the 5, hammering onto the 3 of the A string, and then copying that same move up on the next 2 strings. Now I'm playing the 5 and the 1 and hammering onto the 6. And then I just hammer on from the 1 to the 2, right? Because if you notice, you have these 3 strings all with the same, excuse me, all with the same fingers. Coincidentally, it's part of your vertical position, right? But we're going to jump out of that position real quickly. And then we would shift up with our ring finger, except instead of starting the next portion of the lick on our ring finger, we're just going to put these 2 fingers down kind of where they naturally want to fall on the 2 and the 5 again. Right? So it's once again 2 and the 5 hammering onto the 3 just like we started. And then the exact same thing, right? So like here, 2 and 5 hammering on the 3, and then we were barring the top 2 strings, 5 and the 6, hammering on, 5 and the 1, hammering onto the 6. Just like this. Same thing, 2 different octaves with 1 little hammer on in between. and then we change the direction. After that, we jump down to the 3, and then back up to the 5. And now we're going to use this 4-finger position. It's a bit of a stretch, but it's a really, really good one. We're playing a double stop here, but we're actually playing the 5 and the 3. And we're going to pull off from the 3 down to the blue note, down to the 2, and down to the 1. Right? And then we're going to take this, slide up to the 2 and the 6. I'm sorry, yeah, the 6 and the 2. And then we're going to do a quick little pull off on the high E string from the flat 3 to the 2 and slide back down. So that's, right, which by itself is a sweet lick. Right there. And that was lick 4. So this one you can play really, really fast, and it uses, once again, another really cool articulation. Surprise, we're starting with the 5-6 to the 1. Right? Once again, 5-6-1 on the upper octave. When we're basically just doing that. Like that. Except we're doing 2 hammer-ons. And once we get to the 2, we're just sliding up to the flat 3 and back. And then pulling off to the 1. And then pulling off 6 to 5. And once again, like, all these licks are made for convenience, right? So you don't have to do a lot of movement. And after you pull off from that 6 to 5, the 3 is right here under your middle finger. You pull that off to the flat 3, down to the 1. Like that. And then we're going to do the same idea on the 2. We do that little, it's like a little, like a wiggle slide. And it's literally the same octave, or the same lick. Right? So here, sliding from the 2 up to the flat 3 and back, pulling off, pull off 6 to 5. And now our middle finger lands on the flat 3, pull off to the 2, and finish on the 1. Now, rhythmically what's happening, we're starting on beat 4. These are all 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. And that puts this one, the end of the phrase, on beat 1 instead of the beginning of the phrase on beat 1. And if you like map that out, it becomes really easy to play fast stuff like that. Right? This scale is meant for speed, it's meant for efficiency, and it's meant for relaxation because you have 3 completely symmetrical positions, right? So what I suggest is that you take this scale, and whether you're playing an A minor or C major, it doesn't matter, right? You may have to like resolve to a different note, but you can still use the exact same scale, right? What I suggest is you take whatever pentatonic licks you have, right? Using the blue note or not the blue note, doesn't matter. Learn how to play them in this scale and explore this scale a lot because you have so many more options. Using this diagonal position traverses the fretboard way better, way more symmetrical, way more efficient, and you can play more relaxed because you're playing like the exact same finger combination every time. You don't have to change with your pinky to your ring to your first to middle, blah, blah, blah. Everything about this is easier. So, you know, Give it a shot. I think you will be pleasantly surprised. Spend some time with it because you're going to have to unlearn how to do this like weird vertical thing where you're playing and plucking every single note. Instead, you have a lot more articulation options, right? So stick with it, give it some time, and if you have any questions, let me know. And please, if you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe. Take a look at maxrichmusic.com. I offer a newsletter where I write this kind of stuff weekly, free for all my subscribers. I offer them free videos and free lessons and all kinds of things like this. So if you're interested in learning more about this type of stuff, please head on over there. And if you're feeling like it, there's a little donate button. Send something my way. Helps me keep the content going. Helps me keep it free for you guys. So thank you very much.